Welcome to Modern Homestead, Alaska. I'm Jessica, and we are going to be working on food storage areas on the homestead, as well as pulling some fresh things out of the garden. We are going to make a fantastic meal out of everything that we pulled from that garden, trying to figure out what do we need, getting ready for the Every Bit Counts challenge that comes up next month, and working our way through some food storage, and then making sure everything's cleaned up and ready for us to decide. Won't you join us in today's video? So I'm actually gonna just start in here with everything that needs to be done. And I just, my cow, I just bought her, oh my gosh, so she's gonna be loud throughout today. I just bought her this big round bale of hay and she saw me pull in with it. I gave her a square bale. She has food. She's super mad at me. I have to wait till Erin gets home to help me unload that. So if you hear a cow just belching in the background, that is what is happening. So after having so many guests, my daughter moved back in. Now we have 5 dogs. Now we have 4 adults that go 100 different directions all the time. Caleb and Destiny are here a lot of the time. So my mom is in and out. There just is a lot going on right now. I thought I'll clean up this space because any of the food stock or storage from my daughter's place was just put on the deck here, and I need to take that down. And then I'm looking over here, there's some bags of like dry milk and some other things. And so I thought, as wild as it is, I will start in the garage and get all of the food storage either into the pantry or down into the basement, and then we'll go down there and clean that up. So let's just begin right here. Like I could use the tomato paste up here. I can probably, let's see what she has. So this is some open flour. We obviously, hi Blue. We obviously want to put this in the pantry now. There's some sugar, some green beans, the tomato paste I could use up here. These we could use up here. So I'll just figure all of this out. Okay, so here we go. I didn't put it on time lapse or anything like that. I took the food either up or down, and now I have those 2 spaces that I need to work on this week. And then I clean up all of our fishing stuff. I have all of the coolers being bleached and cleaned after our fishing trips, things like that. And I will get them scrubbed up tomorrow as well. It's now 5 in the afternoon. I have had a very, very long day, but this is one of the spaces, like just cleaning up the garage and getting everything tidied in here and in its spot, its place, has been a super long task that I've been working on all summer. And every week that I put things away and I deal with something else, it just gets better and better and better. And eventually I think we'll have a nice, tidy, clean garage. So I'm so excited about that. But I had food here, I had food in the pantry, I have food downstairs that needs dealt with, I have stuff in the kitchen, and I thought let's just start by getting everything into spaces, and then we can begin on each space, which we will do in this video. So let's move forward. All right, so I just got home from the vet with our little dog Duke, and so I thought I would come out to the garden. I went by the post office and I got some stuff that I need to use, but I need to do any harvesting I'm gonna do before I put this out. It's not necessary, but I think before you put any kind of like bug or slug killer down, you should probably harvest whatever you're gonna eat that day, or take into the house. So I'm gonna start with it in the greenhouses, and then we'll come, look at this. So I cannot believe it. In just a few days, we start the August Every Bit Counts challenge, where you preserve something every single day for an entire month. Totally, totally wild, totally crazy how quickly that has come upon us and how fantastic the garden is looking. And in the next month, we are gonna have harvested all of that. Can you believe that? That is just absolutely bonkers. But we're gonna head into the greenhouses really quick. Then we'll take a look in the garden before we put the bugs and slugs down, and we'll see, because for sure, let's eat some of this broccoli this week. So I mentioned in the previous video that we had found some slugs in the greenhouse. I just find them kind of crawling up these bags and things like that. That's weird that that was already open. Normally they come sealed. But anyway, I just got these delivered from Amazon. I did go to the local garden store. They didn't have any. I used this last year. Kill slugs, snails, and other listed insects, which could be like cutworms and earwigs. Just kind of some creepy crawly things. And then this is trusted since 1960. It's organic. This is Bonadot, however you say that. So it is for organic gardeners. And then if you read the things, this is what I've used the last couple of years. You retreat every month. Well, I ran out and did not retreat. I had treated in the beginning, and now I just have these little baby slugs. We want to take care of it now, because if we don't, we're going to have a huge issue next year. So it's just a pellet, if you can see these little pellets, and they almost look like, when they absorb moisture, they almost look moldy or fuzzy. They're totally fine. I went ahead and harvested all the little hot wax peppers out of this greenhouse, and now I will treat the plants. So you can do it by sprinkling it in your hand, which I might do. So down here, when they look like this, it's easier to just get in there by sprinkling with your hand. Otherwise, it does have a little shaker on it that we'll use in the garden, where you just go along all the walking paths and shake like that. Let's head into the other greenhouse. Look. I love that. So they have reached from the very bottom. They've climbed up the tomato trellis all the way almost to the roof of the greenhouse. It is so beautiful to walk in and just see color and flowers and life and beauty. Doesn't it just make you so happy? It makes you so happy. The marigolds really are helping quite a bit, even though they aren't perfectly, like, obviously we have a little bug damage here. They're not perfectly fixing every single issue. That's okay. We're working in combination as best we can. So same thing, I'm just gonna harvest whatever is ready in this greenhouse before I do any chemicals, even though they are organic. I did grab a bunch of basil off of the basil plant and the other one real quick before I sprinkled it with the bug stuff. And I have some basils in here. Basil can be a trap plant, meaning that the bugs will go and eat and attack the basil, as opposed to whatever it is, your tomatoes or peppers or something like that. And then also basil will grow back. If you keep it kind of manicured, it will push new growth, and then you can combine the basil with the tomato. So I'm hoping to get these basil plants pretty big by the time we harvest the tomatoes, and we can do a tomato basil that we did last year, and we ate a ton of it. We only have a few jars of that left. So I'm gonna run through and harvest all this, and then we'll see what we need to do next. All right, we're all done. The tomatillos are looking amazing, and I think I can, so you can see where I clean up the bottom, it just kind of keeps on the slugs. I've looked over the plants. I'm not seeing any. When I was out here the other day cleaning it all up, I killed all the slugs that I found, and they were kind of crawling up the bags and such, and so you can see a little sprinkles on the ground, not just at the base of the plant. But I'm just trying to keep all of it down in the whole greenhouse. I think that's gonna work. So look at how many little tomatoes we're gonna have. That is amazing. Have you ever read the book, The Princess and the Pea? It is a premise about a little princess, and they put a pea under her mattress, and they had to keep stacking up the mattresses because she could feel it and she couldn't get comfortable and all of those things. We have a mini Jersey baby heifer calf named Honey, who is literally Princess and the Pea. She obviously needs an entire round bale of hay to sleep on, about 2.5 feet off the ground. Little baby Honey, what are you doing up there? Oh, you little chunky monkey. I ran to the house and grabbed the second one. So I used one in the greenhouse. Normally, I just use one for the one in the greenhouse and the garden. I just do a little bit lighter, but because I missed a treatment and found slugs and then found that one type of worm over there on some, it was either on the cauliflower or it was on the Brussels sprouts. Hold on. I went ahead and I'm doing a little heavier treatment. Woo! There's so many flowers growing in the walkway. The camera is catching on them. So we're gonna go ahead and harvest whatever it is that we can in order to make the food bill a lot less. So whatever's fresh, ready to go, that we can eat this next couple of days, and then let the plants put on new growth. So let's start right here with the broccoli. I went ahead and put the basil and the peppers inside so they could try and reach this broccoli here. The nasturtiums are so big and so fantastic that I do not want to step on them. But I've already harvested off that one broccoli, but if you see, I'll show you. This broccoli plant is gonna grow more little heads and sprigs of broccoli. And so I just grab whatever is ready. Look at that. You can't even walk. Anastasia. Okay, there we go. So this is what I caught the zucchinis doing, and I added the calcium and the iron, and now this is what the zucchinis are doing. So they shouldn't have these. That one's still fine. It didn't rot or anything, but they shouldn't look like that. They should look like this. And by adjusting the food that it needed, we fixed that problem. So these right here are kohlrabi, and you can harvest them smaller and larger. They like have a crispy apple texture, except for they taste like cabbage. So real mild cabbage. So there's some decent sized ones, and to allow more airflow and light, I'm gonna grab any decent sized ones, but I have to get down in there deep and clip them. And yeah, let's do some of those. So here we have like a fairly decent sized one. I'm pretty notorious for letting them get too big. They just take up so much space, and the few big ones soak up so much light that the other ones don't grow. So if they're this size, I'll go ahead and pull them. Well, this is what happens. I come out thinking, I'm just gonna grab a little bit of food and organize the basement food storage today, and then I end up finding myself a project. I think I'm gonna snip the bottom leaves off all of the cauliflower. Nope. Brussels sprouts. Yep. And see if we can actually get some Brussels sprouts this year before I sprinkle in the bug killer and the slugs, because slugs really like brassicas. And I can do this. It's super nice out. It's rained for a few days, and so everything is really wet, but that's okay. They've gotten plenty of water, they've gotten plenty of food, and so hopefully the plants can just rebound by me doing a little maintenance right now. I got from both sides all the Brussels sprouts kind of cleaned up. The cow can actually have this. So all the Brussels sprout leaves are gonna go to her. And then I think maybe the kohlrabi or anything else I find will go to the chickens, and everyone can have some treats from the garden today. We have a happy little cow and her calf, and then happy little clucking chickens over there. So looking good. I just trimmed away. We'll see if that helps at all. Here we have the cauliflower, and I have several different kinds, but I wanted to show you. I was walking along and look. Dun, 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 dun. Little baby heads of cauliflower. Okay, so scooting along, we have raspberries, nothing ripe there. Potatoes, they are not dying back at all. In fact, they're just now flowering, which is amazing, which means they are growing lots of potatoes underneath the ground. So that is perfect. We did the zucchinis. We have a lot of growth on the cucumber plant. So I'm hoping we get a cucumber harvest that we can actually pickle. So wouldn't that be fantastic? Nothing else is ready here. So we have cauliflower, Brussels, cabbages, broccoli, and then kohlrabi, and a couple of other brassicas down at the end there. Here we are going to take in some salad greens that we just keep harvesting off of, and they are reflushing. But any of these that have gone flower like this to seed, I just pull those, throw them to the chickens. And then this particular plant right here, this is a weed, so I pull all those out as well. I'll throw those to the chicken. We planted new, what are those, radishes, and look, they're all starting to come up. The celery looks amazing, onions look great, carrots are looking great. There's a lot of green, but they're not super overcrowded. They're looking good, looking good. Beets look good. Still haven't figured out what this plant is, but I thought it was pretty, so I left it. These on the front here are scallions, so I'm gonna pull a bunch of these for the week. Next, let's see if there's anything else ready to harvest. Oh, this is the spinach. We did a second planting of spinach. And let's look over here. Look at this walkway. Man. Oh my goodness. Can barely get through. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so ground cherries are falling over onto the onions, but these are shelling peas, and I need to come through and do to them what I did to the snap peas, which was I attached them up on the fence so that they're not falling over onto, these are artichokes. So you can see I clipped them up with kind of some tomato clips, and it's given breathing room for everything on this side. I need to do the same thing over there. Maybe I'll just stop and do that really quick. The basement can wait. I'm gonna stop and do that real quick. So see, these have a little hole right there. So I put the peas in there and then clip that to the fence. And immediately, huge difference. I think we're done. Look at that. Isn't that so much better? Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay, so now they're all up. They're falling backwards onto the greenhouse here, and that is fine. We can definitely deal with that. These are shelling peas. So they're gonna be the peas that you take out of the shell and you freeze them. So we have so many little pea flowers. Isn't that perfect? So we are going to have lots and lots of peas there. And then the snap peas, aren't these so pretty though? They look like sweet peas a little bit. I'll show you the difference. So this is one kind of snap pea. This is a different kind of snap pea. So you can totally tell the difference as you kind of roll along. And then these are already putting on some weight. But when I do like another day of maintenance out here, I'll go ahead and keep tacking those up. It's working pretty well. But these are sweet peas. Sweet peas are poisonous to eat, but they are beautiful and they smell just absolutely incredible. And I grew them on here so that I knew they aren't mixed with other food. And obviously they aren't gonna mix in with the garlic and the onions. I can definitely tell the difference between a sweet pea and everything that's growing near and around it. These are scallions too. So lots of onions. And then look, we have scapes. So garlic scapes, because these are hardneck varieties. I just noticed. Let me run through and grab these out today too. So the reason I've got to go through and get all these garlic scapes is as soon as your garlic sends out the scape, it makes a choice. Is it going to, this would be a seed. Is it going to make the flower and the seed? And if I take this scape away, it tells the garlic, I want you to put all of your energy into making a garlic head. So just repeating the head, making more cloves. So taking the scape as quickly as I can. So this is just the front row. Just went through and pulled each scallion out of the front of that row. Pulled all the garlic scapes. Now we have some lettuce. All right, so just grab some lettuce for the next couple of days. There's only a little left. I do have another seed packet of it, so I think by the end of the week we'll pull whatever's left there and then start in on the kale salads this week as well. And then I'll just now finally get to the bugs and slugs. So I want to show you. So these marigolds here, these dark, beautiful red ones, were very expensive as far as marigold seeds go. And I got a packet of them and then a white one that's supposed to be like huge and white, and it is growing down at the end of the brassicas, and I'm hoping to collect seeds off of them so that we can plant them next year. So I wanted to clear away from these guys so that they are not being overcrowded, but literally a whole like $2 packet of seeds only made this many marigolds. All right, well, we have gone to the vet for a checkup on a little Duke, our Springer, who has the abscesses and issues. And we have visited with a neighbor. We've done the greenhouses and the garden, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we are done outside for now. So everyone's gotten treats. The cow got treats. The chickens got treats. Everyone is all right, and it's so beautiful. I loved working right here. These sweet peas are so fragrant. Oh, it's one of the best smells in the world. And no matter how you try to recreate with perfumes and those sort of things, the real deal is just so much better. They are unbelievably beautiful, and the ones on the wall over there are just incredible. So, all right, we are gonna head off to the basement and continue working on organizing the food storage so that we can work on a no budget and see what we can harvest and eat and do from what is already in this house. So I just came in from the garden working on a few things, hydrating. And what the goal is I might not make it to the basement storage today, and that is fine. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and start on dinner and clean up these vegetables and see how much of it that we can use, because the whole goal is for the next couple of weeks around here to be prepared for the Every Bit Counts challenge in August. And what that means is we need to kind of know, what did we use up, what still needs to be used up, what do we need more of. A lot of canned things last more than 1 year. So as we're looking through our shelves, our pantries, all of that, do I need to be buying dry goods? Do I need to be stocking up on what? We wouldn't know if we don't stay on top of the organization. However, in order to not spend any additional money, we need to use what we have. So I think I'm gonna start dinner and maybe even tackle the upstairs pantry, because it's just 2 totes I need to put away in there, and then we do the basement tomorrow. It doesn't really matter. We're gonna get to all of it in the video regardless, because in the following video, I want to go through all of it, not just clean up and use some things. I want to know exactly what we have, and I think I'm going to take you along and share that with you. So I went ahead and rinsed the basil. I think I want to use the basil in tonight's dinner. I have some stuff thought out, and for that I think I want to make a loaf of fresh bread. So let's begin with the bread. I think I'm going to do meatballs like a pasta with a basil tomato sauce sort of thing, and I think I should run out. I'm just gonna run really quick. I won't take you, but I have some rosemary, some oregano, some thyme, some different herbs out there that I didn't spray with anything today. I'm just gonna grab a handful of herbs, and I think we'll make an herb bread, not just straight bread. Okay, so just 1 sprig of rosemary. And rosemary is so soft when it is young and fresh like this. It is a beautiful, and I think I'll save, because this is more than enough for a loaf of bread. I can use it to add like a compound butter, anything like that, but I will go ahead and chop these herbs together. And some really, really beautiful oregano. The oregano and the thyme have little tougher stems, but the oregano and the rosemary have little tougher stems. The thyme is literally so delicate that the stem was just breaking, so we're not too concerned if you get a little bit in there, because it isn't dried out and it's not going to be tough to eat. So we'll just combine these 3, give it a nice little chop. I just did the herbs really, really fine, so they'll spread throughout the bread. And then I thought, for a little bit of garlic flavor, I would take a couple of these garlic scapes and put a nice fine dice on those for the bread as well. So we're just gonna make the quickest crusty bread, and it's 3 cups of flour. It isn't something that you have to, bread is pretty simple once you learn to make it. It's not something that you have to, weigh and measure and all those things. This kind of crusty bread, it just is super, super simple. So 3 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of dry yeast. I keep mine in the freezer, and so that's why it kind of has the frost on it. Salt, a teaspoon of salt. Okay. And then, so these herbs and this garlic scape are kind of spread throughout. I'll just give it a good sprinkle into the bread, stir that around. So we're not getting a big clump of it anywhere. I have 2 cups of warm water. I probably need only about 1.5 cups, but we'll start, it's better to have enough to add in. You don't want to add in cold water. And then I just scrape the sides in. And as soon as it just comes together as a soggy dough, we're done. We're gonna let it set room temperature for about 45 minutes until it rises. And it doesn't need any kneading time. So that's it. Just scrape it off. Cover it with a towel, let it sit for 45 minutes at room temperature. All right, now for the meatballs, I just grabbed some oats out. I have 2 cloves of garlic. This is our homegrown garlic. It has lasted for all these months and it is still doing really, really well. So we are still just going with it. So I have a couple of cloves of garlic out of the freezer for dinner the other night. I grabbed some moose and some beef. So it's our son's moose and then the entire cow that we had butchered ourselves. So I have a pound of each of that. So it'll be a moose and beef kind of meatball mixture. And I have this little chunk of onion, but I'm gonna throw some of those green onions, those scallions in here, because I need to kind of use them up in different things. And if I don't have any big onions left. So we're gonna use whatever is out of the garden that we possibly can from here on out. And then some of the onions that are out there are really, really getting big. So I'm pretty excited to have an onion harvest this year. So a couple of cloves. And then the little bit of leftover onion I have here. And then I'm not wasting anything either. This, just so you know, the first year was just a couple of rows. So this is truly only our 3rd year gardening. And so our garden is doing pretty amazing and providing quite a bit for us for having only been in Alaska and only gardening ever in our lifetime for a couple of years. So I think for seasonings, I'm gonna do garlic scape salt. So last year I turned all my garlic scapes into pesto and salt. So about 2 spoons of that, adding that flavor in, and then some fresh ground black pepper. I'm gonna do a few red pepper flakes because we like that. We're kind of giving it that little bit of Italian vibe. And then a chunk of those herbs. I think I'm gonna put some Parmesan in here and then on the pasta. Look at the size of these. Beautiful onions, like an hour old, right? We grew these from seed and then did the tedious work of putting every single tiny little plug in the ground. I think they're gonna be great in the meatballs. I'm gonna use the greens and the whites. So I just trim off the roots and get to chopping. I was gonna do 1 egg per pound, but I have 2 little tiny ones from our chicken, so we will do a total of 3 eggs, but about 1 per pound of meat. There we go. So 3 farm fresh eggs. I'm just making this up as we go, trying to use what we've got. Not exactly following a recipe, but I know the general concept of making meatloaf or meatballs. So, moose. Moose is so much darker of a meat than burger. And 1 pound of ground beef. I preheated the oven so that I can just turn them in with our scoop, and we'll just bake them off while we wait on everything else. I decided to make salad dressing. So the parsley and such are on beds that we did not treat. So I grabbed parsley and I grabbed some cilantro. The reason we didn't treat those is because they're with the onions and garlic, and the onions and garlic don't actually get much bugs, so I didn't treat those for bugs and slugs. So I'm gonna give that a nice good rinse. There we go. And we're gonna make a homemade like green goddess type dressing. I don't have everything for it, but this will be perfect. I have my compost bowl here, so I'm gonna snip some of these scallions. Okay, I'm ready. So into a mason jar, we're just gonna use our stick blender, but you could do this in a blender. So 1 farm fresh egg. I literally walked out to the chicken coop and just grabbed that when I was out there. To that, I'm going to zest a little bit of the lemon, but I'm going to use half of this lemon. The other half, I'm going to maybe use on garlic scapes, but let's do half of it. We are going to do some salt, maybe about a teaspoon. A good amount of, I'm gonna use avocado oil. It has no flavor, and I'm gonna fill it to about right there. And then basically what we've made right there, that would be a homemade mayonnaise. Let's add some pepper to it. Remember those peppers we got out of the greenhouse today? They are super spicy. Literally 1 pepper, and then some fresh cloves of garlic, as well as stems and all, because the flavor is literally in the stems. All of that fresh green stuff. So we have cilantro and parsley, like we said. And then let's cut the little ends off. Okay. And then the green onions are what makes it. Now, I read some recipes. It calls for like anchovies and some other stuff. We don't have any of that. So we're just gonna use what we've got. Let's give it a taste. It needs more herbs, for sure. Okay, herb garden in. And let me mix that in, and then I think I'm gonna do the rest of the lemon. It needs a little bit more tart. I could use some vinegar to bring out kind of that fresh tartness. I'm just gonna do a little shot of apple cider vinegar. And it does need salt. So let's do 1 more. We can always add more. We can't take it away. That's good. I've been washing this lettuce. So far we have bread, we have meatballs, and we have salad dressing. We'll obviously have some salad. My bread alarm went off, and so I pulled the meatballs out. They've baked for about 30 minutes. They're fine. We'll finish them in the sauce. So turning it up to 425, putting a cold pan with the lid in, and this is what we're gonna make the bread in. And then we're gonna turn our attention to the bread for just a second. I'm gonna pull a piece of parchment. This is the easiest way of doing the bread because I can just lift the parchment in and out of the pan. So let's get a little flour on there so we can shape our loaf. Ooh, plenty. And look, nice and bubbly and beautiful. Little flour on the hands. Just gonna shape it into a ball. It's pretty much already shaped, but work it like that. And then I'm gonna let this rest for about 15 more minutes while that pan preheats. All right, first rinse down. Now we're gonna do one more rinse. On the salad, because it does have a little rocks and dirt, and you don't want to get any of that in your teeth, do ya? So see, after the second rinse, we still have rocks and dirt and stuff coming off of the lettuce. All right, preheated and 15 minutes. So we let the bread start to rise again. Pull the lid. Pop my crusty loaf in. Hot lid back on. 30 minutes. Lid on. Okay, we're totally gonna make up this pasta sauce. It's just simple ingredients. So what's left of my olive oil, maybe a little grapeseed, or not grapeseed, sorry, avocado oil. And then I think I'm gonna do a bunch of garlic because the only thing in this is tomatoes and basil. I'm going to do a little bit of red pepper flake. That makes us happy. Leave out whatever you don't want because we're making this up. So because I don't have too many garlic scapes, we'll throw some of those in there. It'll add a different element. Oh, that smells amazing. No exaggeration. Tomato and basil. A ton of fresh basil, and then some for the top. Save the pretty pieces for the top. Oh, perfect. We're gonna nestle the meatballs down in. And out of the freezer, I pulled a Parmesan rind. I think I'm gonna stick that in here too. And this will just cook while we wait on the bread. Oh, it smells so good. The meatballs smell really, really good. I think Cody or Aaron's home. The dogs see someone at the end of the driveway. So I can grab one more jar of sauce. Well, that was the end of the tomato and basil, but I have the pasta sauce we made the same day. We'll cover it over with that. And then that rind, I grabbed it out of the freezer. It'll add a cheesy element to it. It's just coming up to the boil, and I realized I haven't put any salt in it, so we're gonna give it a little taste test. It doesn't need any. I can't remember, but I must have used salt, but it's also gonna be salty from the Parmesan rind, and then the pasta is gonna be cooked in salt, so it doesn't need any extra. Perfect. It's actually really, really good. That is rich in flavor, and the pasta or the tomatoes are not like thick, like a tomato paste type of, or condensed sauce. Oh, okay. I didn't expect it to be that good. I surprised myself. My husband and daughter are pulling in, and so I'm just gonna finish cleaning up these vegetables. Get it everywhere. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes, and so I'm gonna pull the lid off the bread, put it on the meatballs before Aaron eats all of the sauce. The sauce is amazing. Look at that bread. 15 more minutes. The bread is done. My family is home. Hold on. And then I've got the onions already processed, a few more veggies. We're gonna boil up the pasta while this cools just slightly, but look at that bread. Oh, perfect. All right, I finished washing all the vegetables. I just sliced up a little bit of the zucchini as a side dish. I'm gonna pop this in the oven right now and then just put it under the broiler and let it get browned up. Everything else is washed and ready to go in the fridge, and we'll just eat it throughout the week. Look at how many. That's all my scallions. I went ahead and popped some broccoli and a kohlrabi, some bell peppers and such into the lettuce, the salad for dinner. And so we are eating some of everything that we harvested. Cody had this. That's part of what I needed to go through in the pantry. So I'm gonna use a pound, of fettuccine, which will be fine. So here's how our random weeknight dinner ended up. We have the pasta, we have the homemade meatballs. I just topped it with a bit more fresh basil. And then I just grated some Parmesan cheese. That's gonna go on top there. How beautiful is that? Look at the zucchini. All you do is just roast them under the broiler, a little salt and pepper, nothing special. Let's take a look at the bread. So to cut these round loaves, I like to cut it down the middle. A nice sharp knife. And then the bottom is crunchy. It's not sourdough, so it's more of a dense bread. And then you just lay it on its side. Take a slice. Look at that. Little herbs freckled throughout the bread. Little butter on that as well. There's a few zucchinis on the side. And then we have our, literally, I sliced up the broccoli, so fresh. And then the kohlrabi. We have some onion, some lettuce, all of this we picked today. And then made our homemade green goddess dressing. Look at that. Perfect. Now that is a weeknight feast. I'm gonna go feed my family. In a recent video, we actually cleaned out all 5 of the deep freezes. It's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. 6. There's one upstairs on the deck in the garage, which we cleaned any food that was in the garage out in this video. We recently also painted the entire upstairs pantry, by recent, within the last couple of months, and every single item was pulled off of the shelves. It was gone through. We know what's going on in there. what we have to do in there is Cody brought a couple of boxes and buckets. Some of the boxes are right here to the house that need to belong somewhere. And as I'm looking at them, funny, these were containers that I gave her and she never took the writing off of them. But here's some open pasta. It's fresh, it hasn't been down here long. And these sort of things need to make their way into that pantry, whether it's into my system or using hers, it doesn't matter. We just don't want to waste food. And so with today's video being, we're getting organized, we're figuring out exactly what we have going on the homestead, and we're using what we find. What is in our garden, what is in our freezers, what is in our pantry, and how long can we go just using the things that we have already stocked up and stored. And then what do we need to do in the month of August? What do we need in order to refill, restock, recan, freeze, the whole 9 yards, all of these different things. So with that said, we're finally down into the basement. I have been putting off this job. Enough putting it off. I'll talk to you as we go. If I stand here and talk, I'll just keep going and not do the job. Let's get to work immediately. As I get up here on the little step ladder, I will say, sorry about that. Some of the lighting's gonna be a little bit off. It's dark down here. It's hard to move around the lighting the whole time, but I will do my best to show you what we have and what's going on in hopes that in the next video, we're actually gonna talk about how to make a meal plan. Like, how do you plan your meals for the week, the month, the year, based off what you already have stocked up and stored in your home. And very, very simple, just dive into that. And then also we will then take the time to itemize and figure out exactly what we have on this homestead. So right now it's just the massive cleanup. So I'm gonna jump over here. I had used these totes of stuff recently, and now I just got to get them put back away. I am already super distracted, so I might just stick it on time lapse for just a minute, play a little music, and just kind of breeze through here, because I think what needs to happen is I have some donation stuff that needs to just get the heck out of here. It's in the way, it's taking up space. Can't believe I haven't done it, and I've been to the donation like 8 times. So let me just kind of cruise through, and then I have this pile right here. Let me just start in this space. So this is the drywall. There used to be a mattress on that pile of drywall, all of that so that we can finish the basement. And I'm gonna see if Aaron, Cody, Wyatt, someone can help me move this stack onto that stack. Then I only have one stack and all this can be cleared up. Not the point of today's video, but it's all very, very distracting to me, and it makes it hard to adjust. And do you find that in your own home? And if so, just clean out the space. That's what I'm gonna do. Work for a few minutes, forget about videoing and everything else, because we have a pile of stuff right here that we're gonna put away together. We're gonna figure out what's going on here. But I'm just too distracted by where everything needs to go. And yet I am telling myself there is so much less stuff in this house than there has been previously, because I have kept doing this. And by keeping doing this, by staying on top of the garage and then each and every room, there's less and less stuff, even though stuff is still being brought into the house. So let me just find a place to pop you. I'm gonna put you on time lapse and fast forward through this. Okay, so I'm here. It didn't take as long as I thought. And so I think I want to put away some of the dry beans that are in bags. I can put them in Mylar real quick and then deal with this stuff I'll just see what's in here. Should we do that? Let's do that first. Let's do that first. So I think all these things need to just go into the pantry. So these are all pastas. How cute are those pink containers? Aw, those are so cute. I'll take these up as well. Okay, this whole box here is cans. So let's try and get those on the can roller. Okay, that is happy Cody Ann. All right, so diced tomatoes. All right, empty box. I find that so funny that, so my kids shop here. Everyone contributes to our large pantry. Sorry, my daughter just got home. The dogs are above. And because everyone contributes to the pantry, it's all stored here. And I'll show you one of the things that they do that will kind of show you and make more sense. So all the spices are in small jars like this. I just need to take those up. They came from my pantry, so she can just bring the cumin over and refill it, and then so on. Same thing, Caleb and Destiny do the same. But a lot of this she purchased, or some of it was like, we're constantly running out of pepper flakes. So anywho, this is seasonings and spices. This needs to go up to the upstairs pantry. This is all pasta and a little bit of oatmeal. That needs to go up. And I think what I'm gonna do is wash the containers for her. We'll use the pasta, but we'll wash the containers and then I'll just store them so that when she has the ability to move back out and do her own thing after she has gone, she has a program that she is going through that we're gonna help with the dogs and so on. Anywho, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She'll be moving out on her own again very, very shortly. And when she does, she's going to need her containers and things like that. So we're not going to get rid of it. We are going to store it for her, but we don't want food, mice getting to them or it going to waste or any of that. So we are going to take the time to go through. Sorry about that. We've done it. We've done it. We only have a couple of things to go through, which I'm going to do in the next video as we itemize all of it. I will probably between now and then take the time to store up these. I have 3 bags of beans that need to be broke down and sealed up. And 4, 1, 2, 3, no, 3 beans. 3 bags of beans. I don't have much. I don't have much that needs to be stored, but a bunch of these totes are nearly empty. So they do need to be refilled with what we have in here. And then we'll go through and decide exactly how much and what we have on the homestead and what do we need. We do, I know that I'm rambling now just a little bit. We do, the Every Bit Counts challenge just slightly different. We will try to preserve something every day, but I am a believer in not everyone has a garden that size. You cannot grow everything that it would take to live off of. Like as beautiful as last night's dinner was, we don't grow grains up here. And we would need hundreds of acres in order to grow that many grains, in order to make the pasta and so on, those sort of things. So I think it's important that we stock up and store what we need for the year to come, and just take the time to itemize exactly what you have, what do you need, what is not getting used, rotate that in a little more heavy, and then whatever you've worked your way through to restock and fill up on them. So I do find it funny because if I just jump back over here to the canned goods, even with everything our daughter came and brought, store-bought refried beans, we have one. We are super low on the cream of whatever, super low on this soup, this soup, this soup, this soup, so on. There is some space. Looking up here, we have no backup on the green beans, but we have backup on the corn and that. We have backup on that. We have no backup on pintos. We do have backup on the red kidney beans, no backup on any of the white beans. So if that kind of makes sense, that we have too much of some things and not enough of others. And that is what we're gonna work through, as well as, like I said, how do you have a pantry like this or the one upstairs and make a list? How do you decide what's for dinner? How do you know what's in these freezers and turn that into a meal plan? So we'll work through all of that in the next video. So I'm super excited to share that with you. So with that, I hope that you are blessed. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead of you. And I hope that you choose to come back and watch another video. You can do that by ringing the subscribe button and the bell, and it tells you when we do anything on the channel. And I hope to share with you in the future all of the food preservation and storage and methods that we use that actually carry our family through tough times. So with that, enjoy, and I'll see you soon.